I was one of four 6-year-old children, girls, to integrate the public school system here in New Orleans in 1960. Well, being 6 and not really understanding what was going on at the time during the Civil Rights Movement, my parents didn't explain anything to me. I always say to people that it would be really, really hard to explain to a 6-year-old child what I was about to encounter going to school that day. So the only thing that they said to me is that you are going to go to a new school and you better behave. I was, I believe, 17 or 18 years old when I was asked to do an interview, and the reporter showed me a copy of the Norman Rockwell painting. Even though I was accustomed to looking at old magazines and Eyes on the Prize and seeing all that footage, I understood that it was important, but it didn't really hit me until I saw the Norman Rockwell painting. It was a lesson that Dr. King tried to teach all of us, and that was that we should never look at a person and judge them by the color of their skin. That is the lesson that I learned in that classroom at 6 years old, simply because I crossed a picket line, a mob every day for a whole year. They were all white, screaming, yelling, threatening to harm me. And yet every day when I entered the building, there was a woman there to greet me, and she was also white. And I remember not really knowing what to expect from her, if she was going to be exactly like the people outside. But she did everything she could to make my day filled with fun, and I loved learning.
With songs like Johnny B. Good, Chuck Berry helped define rock and roll, building blocks for the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Beach Boys, Bob Dylan, and many more. Born in St. Louis in 1926, Berry taught himself to play guitar and fuse the sounds of blues and country, creating a new sound and lyrics that appealed to black and white audiences alike, a rare feat for a black artist in the 1950s.
Destination was a brown-eyed, handsome man. Way back in history, 3,000 years. In fact, ever since the world.
And he spoke to changing attitudes about race and sex among teens with songs like Brown-Eyed Handsome Man. Signed by Chess Records in 1955, his first hit was Maybelline.
Oh, Maybelline!
Over the next decade, Berry wrote hits like Roll Over Beethoven, School Day, No Particular Place to Go, Nadine, and Back in the USA. He was famous for improvising on stage, and the owner of the St. Louis club Blueberry Hill, where Berry performed well into his 80s, says his guitar playing was revolutionary.
Chuck Berry made the guitar a star. He took it from a rhythm background instrument into playing it behind his head, and he intuitively choreographed the first great rock and roll stage moves. I mean, just on his own, whether it was playing it behind his head, between his legs.
John Lennon once said if you tried to give rock and roll another name, you might call it Chuck Berry. And Rolling Stones guitarist Keith Richards once confessed he'd stolen every guitar lick from him. Richards gave the induction speech when Berry was among the first class inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Berry performed at the White House and received a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And then there was this tribute. When NASA launched the unmanned Voyager 1 spacecraft in 1977, Johnny B. Good was the one rock song included among recordings that would explain music on Earth.
Barbara Jordan is a person who grew up with vision. She was a trailblazer. You know, first African-American woman since Reconstruction from the South, elected to the Senate. That gave young African Americans hope that we could be whatever we wanted to be in life.
Hey, how you doing, Kanani? Good to see you. We're in the Barbara Jordan Archives at Texas Southern University, and the archives contain Barbara Jordan's personal papers, her legislative papers, books, photographs, audiovisual materials, and other artifacts that pertain to her life and legacy.
Most people don't know that Barbara didn't win the first time she ran. She didn't win the second time she ran. But she had that kind of tenacity and that forward-thinking process to say, I can do it, that she continued to try, and she won. And look what happened.
A nation is formed by the willingness of each of us to share in the responsibility for upholding the common good. If one citizen is unwilling to participate, all of us are going to suffer. For the American idea, though it is shared by all of us, is realized in each one of us.